Black Americans all across the United States and in inner cities like Chicago are starting to realize how little the Democrat Party cares for them. But many of these Black Americans still don't realize the racist history of the Democrat Party, and many of them continue to vote Democrats in power year after year. It was Abraham Lincoln in 1861 to his death, a Republican, who led the United States to fight against and eventually win over slavery. After his death, we saw one of the most racist presidents ever, Democrat Andrew Johnson, who instituted the Black Codes and was against the 14th and 15th Amendments, which would give Black Americans more freedoms, liberties, and voting rights. It was Republicans who would not allow this racist president to have his way. In 1869, it was the Republican Party who pushed through the 15th Amendment of the United States of America, which gave Black Americans the right to vote. 144 Republicans voted for it, and 0 Democrats voted for it. Just a short 8 years later, it was Democrat leaders who instituted the Jim Crow era in the United States of America. This was a time period where Democrat leaders were passing laws of segregation and laws that would eliminate the ability of Black Americans to vote or have equal rights. In fact, as Democrats solely pushed this racist Jim Crow era, it was from 1913 to 1921 that another very racist American president, Democrat Woodrow Wilson, the leader of the progressive movement, segregated the federal civil service and had fully segregated Washington, D.C. Democrat leaders continued to push these racist policies even decades after Woodrow Wilson's presidency. So how is it then that many Black Americans look at the Democrat Party as the party of equality and Black rights? It's because about 70 years ago, the Democrat Party realized they were on the losing end of this battle, and they needed to shift their tactics, so they did. They decided to implement a system of racism, not based on outright laws that created inequality, but something a little sneakier, a system by which mostly inner-city Black Americans would be indebted to them, the Democrat Party and the government, the welfare state. This sneaky little system would provide mostly lower-income Black Americans with money and federal aid from the government. As the government continued to issue them this aid, then they would issue them their votes in return. However, over the years, we have not seen Black inner-city American families get any better through this welfare state. In fact, things have gotten worse. Look at American cities right now. How is it possible that Democrat leaders have been in charge of those places for nearly 70 years, instituting the welfare state, yet it seems like they're getting worse and worse? Crime, poverty, lack of education, none of it's getting better. But right now, Black Americans are no longer the apple of the Democrats' eyes. See, Black American vote now is seen as something that has already been established for the Democrats. Now they want a different voting bloc. They want the voting bloc of those who are moving across the border from Mexico to the United States of America. So what are Democrats doing? They're pushing these Black Americans to the side, and they're focusing all of their effort on these illegal immigrants. Check out this clip where Black Americans in inner city Chicago are starting to realize the truth.
Politically, having over 500 people in our community would completely wipe out any interest we have. Are you aware that there are immigrant advocates at state houses all over this country who are advocating for non-citizen voting in local elections? What if that happened here? That would change the mindset of what we as a Black community need to thrive here in Chicago. That's a concern of ours. This is much bigger than the mayor of Chicago or Chicago Police Department. This is an effort to destroy our neighborhoods and silence our voices even further.
That's right. Democrat leadership want non-citizen voting. Why? Because all along, all Democrats cared about was power and your vote. They were willing to give you a small, measly monthly check, food stamps, or some other welfare in exchange for your vote. But now your vote is secured. They don't need you anymore. They're looking at a much bigger voting block, a newer voting block, and they'll do it at your expense. So what's the proposal? Let's institute non-citizen voting. And this has been the plan all along. It always was. The welfare state was never meant to benefit Black Americans. It was only meant to keep them in the pockets of the Democrat Party. I hope more Black Americans will realize the truth, that the Democrat Party has not helped out your inner cities, that they have not helped out your Black American families. They are not helping out your children, and they are not helping you out. They have used you only for your votes, only for power. And now that they've used you, they're moving on to another group. So what do you think about this? Please leave a comment below. I would love to see your thoughts. As always, I'll catch you on the next one.